You look at the squads, you follow the rumors, and one thought keeps coming back. Who's going to have the most dangerous front three in the Premier League this season? It's not just about goals. It's about rhythm, chemistry, identity. Every top side is chasing it. That balance between efficiency and flair. And right now, it feels like no one's guaranteed anything. This summer hasn't been quiet. It's been chaotic. Massive signings, inflated prices, and the kind of expectations that can weigh down even the brightest talent. Clubs are under pressure to evolve fast. But with every big move comes an even bigger debate. Is this real progress or just money chasing relevance? You've got teams spending over £200 million, often without a clear plan. Attacking trios are being built, rebuilt, or completely reimagined. Some fans are excited, others not so much. The accusations are flying. Overpays, scattergun strategies, panic buys. Even the so-called elite aren't safe from criticism. What we're about to do is take a closer look at each of the big six, not just who they signed, but why it matters. Who's building something with intent, and who's just hoping it works. This isn't just another transfer window, it's a gamble, and the front line is where it's all going to play out. Let's get into it. There's something clinical about the way Arsenal are shaping up. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's clear. Arteta isn't just collecting talent, he's refining a system. With Bukayo Saka on the right, Arsenal have a player who's matured into one of the smartest wingers in Europe. He doesn't just run, he reads, knows when to isolate, when to combine. Martinelli on the opposite side is pure acceleration and aggression, a different profile, but one that gives defenders headaches. And now with Victor Gyokeres set to lead the line, the trio feels complete. Gyokeres isn't here to create, he's here to finish, a true number 9. And for a team that flirted with the false 9 experiment for too long, that clarity matters. Of course, not everyone's convinced. Spending over £50 million on Madueke, who's still behind Saka, raised more than a few eyebrows. Some say the squad is bloated, others question if Arsenal really solved their biggest issue, depth when it matters most. But maybe the most interesting part, Arsenal's attack isn't built to impress on paper, it's built to execute. Efficient, functional, and hard to stop when in rhythm. In a league chasing chaos and improvisation, that might be Arsenal's biggest weapon, control. And if Gyokeres hits the ground running, that front three becomes one of the most balanced in Europe. Let's pause here for a second. If you're enjoying the breakdown so far, consider subscribing to help the channel hit 100 subs, and drop a comment. Which trio feels most complete to you so far? It's hard to know what to make of Chelsea. Every window feels like a reset. New names, new coach, new idea, at least on paper. But under Enzo Maresca, the vision seems a bit more grounded. Possession football, positional play, patience in the final third. The question is whether the pieces actually fit. Cole Palmer is the constant. Last season, he carried Chelsea's attack. Goals, assists, moments of composure in a team that was anything but composed. Now he's got João Pedro beside him, and if the Club World Cup is any indication, the chemistry is real. Pedro's mobility and timing already look like the perfect match for Palmer's delayed runs and vision. But it's still Chelsea. The noise hasn't stopped. Nicholas Jackson might leave for Manchester United, Nkunku is led to Bayern, and Xavi Simon's an exciting target, but with so many moving parts, it's hard to tell what's being built and what's being improvised. Some fans love the chaos, others are exhausted, and the financial side keeps the pressure high. Every signing, like Gittins, like Pedro, gets judged not just by output, but by the price tag. When you spend like a super club, expectations follow. Chelsea might have the most unpredictable attack of the Big Six, and if Palmer and Pedro continue to click and Simons does arrive, they could surprise everyone. But if one piece goes missing, or the rotation spins too fast, it could collapse just as quickly. Stability is the goal, but unpredictability still defines this Chelsea front line. Liverpool's attack has always had an edge, that blend of pace, pressing, and chaos that made them one of Europe's most feared teams under Klopp. But now under Arne Slot, things are changing, and fast. Mohamed Salah is still the icon. His numbers remain elite, but around him the pieces are shifting. Luis Diaz could be on his way to Bayern Munich. Cody Gakpo brings flexibility, but never fully locked down the role besides Salah. And after the tragic passing of Diogo Jota, the squad faces not just a tactical gap, but an emotional one too. That's where Salah and Ekitike comes in. Ekitike's arrival, nearly £80 million, says a lot. It's a bet on potential, on movement, on energy. But is it enough? The club is also eyeing Alexander Isak, who's training alone at Newcastle, and even Rodrygo from Real Madrid. If any of those happen, the Liverpool front line could morph completely. The big concern? balance. Without Trent Alexander-Arnold, who orchestrated so many attacks from deep, Slot's system has to adapt. Can this new front three, Salah, Ekitike, and maybe Isak or Rodrygo, develop chemistry fast enough? There's potential here for something special, but it won't look like the Liverpool they've known. This is a reinvention, and like every bold rebuild, it comes with risk. Because when you lose identity, even briefly, the goals don't always come back right away. Manchester City don't rebuild, they recalibrate. Even with De Bruyne and Walker gone and whispers about financial limits tightening, Guardiola's approach remains the same: control, structure, precision. Erling Haaland is still the focal point, but it's the players around him who give this trio its identity. Jeremy Doku on the left brings unpredictability and flair, not always efficient, but capable of breaking games open. On the right, Phil Foden or Bernardo Silva, depending on the setup. Both offer technical control, intelligence, and versatility. The wild card? Pep's ongoing adjustments. Oscar Bobb and Savinho are still developing. Reijnders adds depth, and with Ait-Nouri arriving to fix the left flank, the positional rotations only get more complex. City's front three isn't the flashiest, but it's the most coherent, built for execution. No chaos, no experiments, just a system that turns chances into certainties. Of course, some critics say the loss of creative sparks like De Bruyne could make them too mechanical. But this is City. They've thrived by doing exactly that, outplaying chaos with pure structure. In a season full of reactive overhauls, City might be the only side moving with calm clarity. Manchester United's attack feels like a work in progress again. Under Ruben Amorim, the focus has shifted towards speed, transition, and compact pressing. And in that model, Bryan Mbeumo could be key. Signed for over £71 million from Brentford, he brings directness and tactical discipline. Garnacho adds raw explosiveness on the opposite flank. But in the center, things get interesting or concerning. Højlund's role is uncertain. Rumors of his departure hang over the club, while Matheus Cunha steps in as a second striker or even a makeshift number 10. Amorim wants fluidity, but United still lack a consistent focal point. That's where the potential move for Nicholas Jackson comes in, a player with physical presence and movement, but also a questionable track record of consistency. The real issue? Identity. The attack is fast, yes, but is it cohesive? Between exits, injuries, and tactical tweaks, United look like a team still chasing its own blueprint. They're not short on talent, but compared to the well-drilled systems of their rivals, United's trio feels more like potential than product. And in a league this unforgiving, potential doesn't always wait to deliver. Tottenham are in an identity shift again. Under Thomas Frank, there's been a push for structure, but not at the cost of flair. And with that, Spurs might be entering their most unpredictable attacking phase in years. Mohamed Kudus is the headline. Signed for over £60 million, his profile divides opinion. Powerful on the ball, unafraid to take risks, but also prone to inconsistency. And in many ways, he embodies the gamble Spurs are taking. Next to him, Richarlison holds the center, a player whose value swings wildly depending on form, capable of pressing, linking play, and scoring big goals, but also capable of going missing. And then there's Heung-Min Son, still the face of the club, still capable of brilliance, but also at a stage where the question lingers. Is he now the mentor or still the match winner? There's also the wider picture. James Maddison floats between midfield and support striker. Dejan Kulusevski rotates in. But none of these pieces guarantee consistency. Rumors of Son's potential exit hang in the background, as do questions about depth. The departure of Højbjerg and uncertainty around others suggest Spurs are building a system on the fly. Frank's style is energetic, pressing heavy, and reliant on coordinated movement. Kudus fits that. Richarlison might. Son? Not maybe for much longer. There's talent here, but is there cohesion? Spurs might be the most volatile attack in the Big Six, capable of brilliance one week and chaos the next. And that makes them fascinating, because if it clicks, they'll punch above their weight. But if it doesn't, it could be the end of an era, and the beginning of another long rebuild. Now that we've looked at all six, the picture starts to shape up, and it's anything but straightforward. City still have the cleanest execution. Their system is polished, efficient, and built around Haaland's certainty. They don't rely on individuals to improvise, they rely on structure to deliver. Arsenal might be closest in balance. Saka, Martinelli, and Gyokeres give them width, flair, and a proper focal point. It's functional football with flashes of brilliance, and that might be exactly what wins titles. Chelsea, the most unpredictable. Palmer and João Pedro look sharp, but the ceiling and the floor feel dangerously close together. Simons could elevate it, or it could all fall apart again. Liverpool have the biggest swing. If Ekitike clicks and they land Isak or Rodrygo, it's a revamped force. But if the chemistry doesn't land, it could be a transitional year filled with more questions than answers. United are in motion. Mbeumo and Garnacho give them speed, and Cunha brings some link-up play. But without a true anchor up top, it's a trio built on potential. And that's risky. Tottenham are chaos. Kudus, Richarlison, and Son, if he stays, is a high-variance mix, capable of stunning moments, but also vanishing acts. So who takes the crown? If you're backing stability and system, City. If you want a trio with synergy, growth, and purpose, Arsenal. If you're betting on raw ceiling, maybe even surprise, Liverpool.
But here's the truth. This year, it won't just be about who scores the most. It'll be about who adapts fastest, who lasts longest, and who shows up when it matters most. The throne is up for grabs. Let us know who you're backing. And don't forget to subscribe. Every voice helps us reach our first 100 subs and keeps these deep dives coming.